Can I say something maybe a tad controversial? Season 1 of the Black Butler anime is actually pretty decent. Yes, it is a product of its time when it comes to the quality of animation, but there is a charm to it. A charm to the weird and wacky storylines. A charm to the horrors that lay just beyond the humor. I have rewatched the entire thing at least 3 times with different groups of friends over the past couple of years, and despite all of the inconsistencies in animation, low quality moments, and creative liberties in the storytelling, it was a really, really fun ride. If you're only watching the episodes that are canon, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. The canon episodes are, in fact, the weakest ones. So sorry they butchered you like that, Indian Butler arc. We mourn you every day.
Lena, what are you doing? You're in front of Her Majesty.
The original storylines in Season 1 lean into the gothic horror aspects of Black Butler. We've got towns haunted by demon dogs, ghosts haunting a building site, creepy living dolls, cults, and an evil angel. The series is heavily steeped in the supernatural, which is something the manga does contain, but in the manga, most of the cases that Ciel gets involved in usually have a perfectly non-supernatural explanation. Minus anything relating to the bizarre dolls. The manga sometimes takes more of a Scooby-Doo approach to the supernatural occurrences, aside from meddling Grim Reapers, while the anime unapologetically plays in the realm of ghosts, monsters, and magic. Hell, even the curry competition goes off script into a supernatural thing with a magic spice that turns people evil. The anime really was just doing whatever and having fun with it. But what if I told you that the original storylines may not be as original as we think? We're all familiar with the fact that the anime spoiled Undertaker being a Grim Reaper. Yeah, I'm making the assumption here that if you're watching this video, you've probably already watched Season 1 of the anime, and are at least far enough into the series to know that Undertaker is a Reaper. Also, this is the point of the video where I should say there will be manga spoilers ahead. So if you're not caught up on the manga, you may be spoiled for some major plot things. There is your warning. Undertaker being a Reaper became kind of a silly, jokey plot point during the last quarter of Season 1. With this in mind, I felt it was increasingly clear that the anime team had some kind of outline or rundown or just basic ideas of what the Black Butler manga was going to be to base the anime off of, in some twisted, extreme creative liberties kind of way. I am aware that I sound like this when I talk about Season 1 of the anime. Throughout the anime, there's little nuggets of stuff that parallels events and characters from the manga just a little too well. Manga events that hadn't been published yet at the time of the anime airing, because keep in mind, this anime aired in 2008. In the manga, the circus arc started in August of 2008. So most of the things that I feel like the anime parallels won't even be in the manga for years and years and years after the anime aired. So today, I want to loosely go through the anime and talk about its strengths and the parallels between the original anime and the plot points and lore drops from the manga that happened well after the anime aired.
I'll ask but once more. Do you wish to form a contract with me?
The anime does start off fairly faithful to the manga, for the most part. Episode 1 takes Chapter 1 and spins that story to be a bit more sinister and more haunted. The change that I'm the most upset about is family friend Klaus isn't actually the one visiting in Episode 1 of the anime, despite him being the visitor in Chapter 1 of the manga. This is such a stupid little detail for me to be like, damn, but I don't know, I like Klaus. Instead, it's some businessman who's seeking to take advantage of Ciel. So now I don't feel bad for him having a horrible evening that reminds me of the movie Jumanji. Because why is he suffering in relation to what happened to him in the board game he was playing with Ciel? Really just adds to the Phantom Hive Manor is haunted vibes. Episode 1 does a lot to establish Black Butler as not only a comedic series, but a horror series. As we slide between the silly shenanigans of the servants into the darker tone of Sebastian and the Phantom Hives, we get this tonal whiplash that even the Black Butler manga is pretty well known for. And in that sense, while it's not faithful in the sense of it being an exact replica of the first chapter of the manga, it is faithful in its essence. happens. And I think that is the most important thing when making an adaptation of something. The anime also restructures a few things, postponing Lizzie's entrance to instead keep the darker tone rolling and fully establishing Sebastian's power by going straight into Ciel getting kidnapped and Sebastian having to go save him from chapters 3 and 4 of the manga. And then we get to have Lizzie come over in episode 3, but with a twist. Madame Red shows up and has Grell stay at the Phantom Hive Manor to learn how to be a butler, so we get introduced to both of these characters a little bit earlier. So the thing with Grell is that she makes a lot of suicide jokes in the anime that are not present in the manga. She goes to hang herself or take her life in many different situations where she has messed up her butler duties. It's played as a joke, kind of a, oh, I can't do my job well, guess I'll go kill myself kind of way. And it's not taken seriously at all. But towards the end of the Emerald Witch arc, we learn that Reapers used to be humans who took their own lives. They become Reapers as sort of divine punishment of sorts. Every single Reaper did commit suicide, and the inclusion of these jokes in the anime feel like a nod towards that lore drop, because while it is normal for Reapers in media to have a lot of death motifs like skulls and maybe even joke about death, I don't think suicide jokes are normal Reaper things. Black Butler is the only case where I have seen a Reaper make jokes like that. So, this is the part of the video where I have stopped scripting it. I'm gonna riff it based off of these notes I took in 2023 when I first rewatched the anime with Null. Shout out to Null. As we move into the Jack the Ripper arc, things play out pretty much the same as they do in the manga. It feels very fast-paced in the anime, and it really is just the same. And it's actually decent. These episodes are good. It's a really strong start to the series. And then we move into some original content that, if you are thinking about villages with dog hauntings or canine related things, you're gonna be thinking of the Emerald Witch Village, because I know I sure was. I did write this down as BDSM Village, though. And the animal abuse arc. Episodes 7 and 8 of the anime see Ciel and the gang going to this village that claims to be haunted by a demon dog. And the village has all of these precautions, all of these rules, all of these guidelines that everyone is expected to live by in order to keep the demon dog from attacking them. And if one of them breaks the rules, it gets taken out on that person, and in the case of episode 7, the dog that was breaking the rules via mob violence and dog attacking. So the idea that this village is being, I guess, cursed by a demon dog is very reminiscent of the Emerald Witch arc and the wolf curse, and the fact that Sieglinde and the other village mates of hers are essentially trapped in their village because of the pact with the wolf and the Emerald Witch from the ye olden times. There's also the detail that in the Emerald Witch arc, the whole wolf curse and the village was kind of a military psyop and a lie to Sieglinde, and it kind of works like that in the demon dog arc in season 1 of the anime as well. Yes, there is actually a demon dog present, but the whole curse and the way the village operates was entirely made up by the mayor in order to control people. So that's a fun little parallel. And this is where we basically get introduced to Pluto, the white hair animal servant to be. If that sounds familiar to anybody, we do have a white hair animal related servant in the manga. Things kind of wrap up with Ciel and Sebastian basically adopting Pluto on Angela's request. There's a little bit of foreshadowing to Angela being an angel, and there's also just, you know, things kind of work out for the dog village, and I love that for them. The arc is very strange. I think there are some fun things going on with it, and I also think a lot of what I find fun about it is the way it parallels the Emerald Witch arc and just things from the manga. But the actual, like, if you're watching this with people who aren't obsessed with Black Butler, they do kind of get an air of, what the hell are we watching? But also my friend said that about every episode of Black Butler. So there is that. After that, we have a little like filler-esque episode where they have a camera that if you take a picture of somebody, it shows you the thing that they care about the most. And we find out at the end of the episode that it only shows dead things. But it's really weird because they took a picture of Ciel and Sebastian showed up, and Sebastian's very much alive. So maybe it also shows demons, who's to say? The episode very much is Ciel's ship bait, but it is also very cute to see Ciel interact with the other servants and just get up to mischief and have a really good time. I'm a big Phantom fam enjoyer, so that aspect of this episode was good. It doesn't really foreshadow anything in the manga yet. Other than like, hey, these guys get along really well, but that's basically it. So after this episode, we start to kind of dip our toes into the next big arc that's basically living dolls, bizarre doll moment here. Okay, so actually the next episode starts off with an introduction to the Hope Diamond, which is like a real historical stone that was allegedly cursed, and that is true in Black Butler as well. The Hope Diamond is cursed. Those who wear it have bad things happen to them. This is relevant because Lizzie actually comes across the Blue Hope Diamond ring in the anime after she tried to find a gift for Ciel for his birthday. She puts a lot of effort into trying to make sure he's happy, and she knows that his birthday is a tough time of year for him due to the incident. So she ends up finding this toy that was a toy that she and Ciel had played with when they were children. She ends up finding out that it was a fake, and she feels stupid for giving it to Ciel, or she didn't give it to him, but she feels stupid for getting it, and so she breaks it and finds the Hope Diamond ring. And then bad things start happening to her. This kind of loosely parallels the way that in the Blue Cult arc, Lizzie starts to go through some terrible times due to her proximity to the precious blue stones in her life, that being Ciel and the Phantom Hive twins, basically. I'm aware this is a little bit of a stretch, but it kind of leans into this whole something has happened to Lizzie and Ciel must save her, or at least he thinks that we have going on in both this little arc of the anime and the Blue Cult arc in the manga. Also, before we really dive into the doll arc in season 1 of the anime, there's a little bit of an ice show. It's fun. It's got a lot of foreshadowing for like season 1 specific plot lines, and it's a little goofy. We do get the like Phantom Noah's Ark thing, and if you remember in the circus arc, the circus was called Noah's Ark. So I do think that was an intentional nod to the circus arc, because that was already starting when the anime aired, I think. Oh, I don't actually know what month the anime aired in, but it was around the same time, so I think when they were producing the anime, Yana Toboso probably already knew what the circus was going to be called. Back to the Hope Diamond ring, though, the parallel between the Hope Diamond ring and the Phantom Hive ring is very interesting to me. Because in the anime, they do kind of make it feel like the Phantom Hive ring is a burden, a responsibility, and a little bit of a curse on Ciel, which, you know, kind of does fit, because in the manga, real Ciel does feel like being the head of Phantom Hive maybe is a little bit of a burden, because all he wants to do is have a happy life with his brother, and he can't go follow his brother into London to do a toy company if he has to be the head of Phantom Hive. So I could see a child maybe seeing that a little bit as a burden, knowing that your destiny is fixed and your future is already decided for you. And also the whole watchdog thing is a little bit of a burden. I did write in my notes that Ash equals Baron Kelvin. I think anyone will tell you that Drossel looks a lot like Joker, and with Ash playing the role of like Drossel's boss, it is giving Baron Kelvin in regards to Joker and the circus troupe. Throughout season 1 of the anime, there is this motif of the nursery rhyme London Bridge is falling down, and it becomes associated with Drossel, who is kidnapping children and turning them into dolls, much like how the circus arc is kidnapping children. And one thing I find particularly interesting is that in the circus arc, we have this motif of Pied the Piper's Son, which is also another nursery rhyme, and the use of the song Over the Hills and Far, Far Away, and it just kind of feels like the whole London Bridge is falling down thing. And I thought that was very interesting. Drossel's whole thing is that he's basically kidnapping children, like the circus arc did, and turning them into dolls. Kind of like how in the circus arc they were kidnapping children and turning them into basically dolls, not in the bizarre doll kind of way, but in the they were being kidnapped and lobotomized and forced to be circus performers, and also their bodies were being used to make prosthetic limbs. So that's interesting. It's a little bit of like a nod to that, and then also it does feel like a nod to bizarre dolls, since these are literally called dolls, and Drossel, we find out a little bit later, is literally a doll made of like wood. He's not a real person. Another thing that I find very fascinating is it feels a little bit like the Blue Cult arc when Lizzie gets wrapped up in the whole Sphere Music Hall thing and disappears. Now, the circumstances are different, but it's the same for CL in the sense that, hey, Lizzie's gone, and I need to figure out what happened to her, and we need to save her. And then also, Lizzie gets to fight Sebastian, because she also gets turned into a doll. I find this whole doll thing to be very good. I really liked this arc of the anime. It's creepy, it's unsettling, and it just fits the vibes of Black Butler fairly well, and it's good. It's genuinely pretty good. Anyway, so this is where we kind of start to see, if you've already watched the anime before, you'll start to see Ash Lander's hand in things, and he kind of is a perfectionist, and sees all of these things as like unpure, unclean, and he wants to fix them or get rid of them. And this little doll says this to CL, and he kind of has a little moment of, wait, how did you know about that? And gets a flashback to being branded and kidnapped.
That body you wear is unclean.
But how? How could you know about that?
We also know that not super great things happened to the twins while they were kidnapped, and it's the kinds of things that usually leave victims feeling unpure, unclean. So if you know where I'm going with that. I don't really know if that was an intentional nod, but it does feel like one. And also, I think a lot of people probably just assumed that that happened to CL while he was kidnapped, because I know I sure did for a while. CL is very upset about this, and he's like, how the hell could you know about that? Anyway, I also wrote, he's just a little guy on his birthday. Although I don't think it's CL's birthday anymore at this point. Also, the way Ash is very fixated on CL becoming one of his victims is the same as Baron Kelvin, and the way Baron Kelvin was fixated on CL becoming one of his victims. Their circumstances are different, but it's the same. This is basically just the circus arc, but without the circus. Episode 13, I dubbed it Bad Arc with a Frowny Face. So the Curry arc in the anime is the episodes where it kind of starts to not look super great. We're like halfway through the season, and that does tend to happen with anime sometimes, where things begin to look not as great deeper in. These episodes are fine. They convey the information they need to. If you're watching the English dub, the accents do get a little bit worse, and there's just a lot of like interesting choices to make sure you really know Soma and Agni are from India.
Thank you for your hospitality, kid.
A real prince in our own home! Amazing!
How exciting!
What an opportunity. I've never seen a prince up close before.
You may approach. I give you permission.
This Bengal place sounds exotic. What's it like?
Things do start to take a little bit more of a unique spin during this arc. We kind of get things played out a little bit differently, but the basic idea is still the same, where, oh, we find out Agni is actually like the one doing bad things, and Soma's gonna kind of help us get this figured out, and now we actually have to enter this curry competition to figure out what's going on and to talk to Agni, and it's like a whole big thing, and Sebastian has to learn how to make curry, and They go to the curry competition, and the queen shows up a little bit early. And she's teeny tiny, because in season 1 of the anime, they decided to make the queen a little lolly character instead of a full-grown woman. Although I think there's some interesting things about here. Ash Landers basically kind of builds the queen and merges her body with the corpse of Albert, her husband. And, you know, you could make the argument that she, the queen body is also, like, crafted and different because of this. And we know Baron Kelvin wanted to look like a little girl. He wanted to have that kind of beauty. So there is that parallel. The curry competition is where things really go off the rails. And we find out that Ash Landers gave one of the participants some like evil spice, and no one's truly good at heart. And everyone starts to go a little apeshit after eating a specific curry. But we find out that the curry buns that Sebastian made give people their childlike wonder back, and it saves the day. It's like this whole big thing. It's really odd. It was like kind of fun when you're a teenager. But the curry arc truly is the weakest point of the season 1 anime. And I hate to say it, but it's true. After the curry arc, we go into the cheater arc, which is what I have dubbed the episode where Edward V and Richard, Duke of York, we get to see their ghosts. This is based in real history just a little bit. The dead Victorian boys. Not Victorian. Basically, there was these historical figures. No one really knows what happened to them. They were probably murdered. It's like this whole big thing. And Black Butler decided, hey, what if we make them ghosts in our anime? So Sebastian basically is playing Butler for King Edward, and it is very much reminiscent to how Sebastian played Butler for Siglinde during the Emerald Witch arc. This might be a little bit of a straw poll, but I'm saying it here anyway. It's kind of that essence of he's only playing Butler because he needs to or he was told to, and he's still loyal to Ciel. And also, this feels like Aloy's foreshadowing. /J, because it's a little blonde boy. I thought you would find that funny. I do think it's really funny in this episode. Ciel's like, I don't believe in ghosts. And that is something in the manga as well, where he's like, I don't really believe in the supernatural, especially in the Emerald Witch arc. Which I think is really funny, because this child has a demon attached to him and has met Grim Reapers, and he's gonna sit here and say, I don't believe in the supernatural? My brother in Christ, you're being raised by the supernatural. This episode was honestly pretty good, and there's kind of this overarching theme of overcoming trauma and overcoming lies. And in that sense, it's a little bit reminiscent of the 2CL theory and all of the lies wrapped up in that, because, you know, this guy is not who he says he is. Anyway, the two brothers, Edward and Richard, also low-key give the 2CLs because they have, like, the protective, and their dynamics are very similar, basically. So from here on out, the rest of the anime is basically this, like, cult arc, and really learning that Ash and Angela, the angel, are the big bad of season 1. So Sebastian and Ciel, with the help of Grell, have to go investigate this church and see what's going on here, and the church ends up being a cult, and it kind of does feel like the Sphere Music Hall a little bit, except Ciel and Sebastian don't make a rival church to try to attract the churchgoers. They don't do all that, but the whole, like, establishment being a front for a cult that has more nefarious things going on in the background does feel like the Sphere Music Hall a little bit. This is also the arc where Sebastian bangs a nun for information, just like the scene in the circus arc where he bangs Beast for information, for your little parallel there. What a whore. Basically, for this arc, Ciel and Sebastian, mostly Sebastian, has to work with the Reapers to save the day, and it works. And there's a lot of fun little nuggets here, like the Undertaker statue in the Reaper Hall. It's signifying that he is an ancient man and an important Reaper, which is, I think, true in the manga as well, although he defected like 50-something years ago. He's not that important anymore, but he was a powerful Reaper, and he is an ancient man. Maybe not like ancient, but he's pretty old. One thing that I do find really interesting with the anime is the way that Ash/Angela takes Ciel and tries to give him some sort of redemption. She tries to manipulate his memories and is basically trying to null and void his contract with Sebastian and heal him in a false way. And I think this is really fascinating because when Ciel makes the contract with Sebastian in the manga during the flashback arc, we do see that Sebastian's like, hey girl, I mean, I could make you believe that things are nice. Like, you want me to bring your brother back. Like, I can't revive the dead, but I can give you a lie to make you feel better. And Ciel's like, why would I want that? Why would I want to live a lie? And that is not the conclusion they come to in the anime. Instead, he's like, I'm gonna cling on to my hatred and my revenge because that's who I am. Okay, girl. But I do think it's kind of interesting, that little parallel there. I think that might be more of a coincidence than an on-purpose thing. But I also think it is fascinating because there for a while there was a fan theory that Undertaker in the manga might be trying to maybe do something that voids the contract between Ciel and Sebastian. This theory was based on something that we have later learned was more him bringing real Ciel back to life than doing something to mess with the contract, but a lot of people still hold on to that idea that he might try to do something to save our Ciel, because he has been shown to have a emotional attachment and an investment in the Phantom Hive family and wanting to keep real Ciel and our Ciel safe. So there is that. That's one of those parallels that I don't know if it's actually a parallel or if I'm just coping. We'll only be able to say once the manga finishes, I guess, because that kind of feels like a end of manga thing if it's going to happen or be an attempt. I just thought it was interesting. Also, Also, Angela kind of makes this weird, fucked up combination doll of Rachel and Vincent, and while it is definitely supposed to be more of a nod towards the way that this messed up angel stitched together the Queen and Albert, and that's kind of like their thing, it did kind of feel like the Bizarre Doll situation with real Ciel. I thought that was kind of fun. It is also interesting to me that the way that Ash and Angela, the angel, is trying to manipulate Ciel's memories is through the cinematic record, which is something that Undertaker does to create the Bizarre Dolls. And the Reapers do say, like, oh, it's gonna be really bad if she successfully does this. It'll make Ciel something less than human. So, Bizarre Dolls, my beloved. This is also when it becomes revealed that Undertaker is a Reaper, because he's like hanging out in the Reaper's library and he can use these special bookmarks, and it's like this whole, it's a silly power, but it is used in kind of a fun way because they're all stuck in the Reaper library, and Angela goes back to her cult and is like trying to fuck shit up, and Undertaker's like, oh yeah, I could just use this bookmark and write into these people's cinematic records. Oh, it's not their cinematic records, it's something slightly different. But he basically is like, I can just write a little fanfic and you show up. And that teleports them out of the library, and while that is silly goofy, I do think that's really fun. I think it's a fun concept. After the cult kind of gets resolved, Ciel becomes framed for like drugs or something in his products, and if anybody is paying attention, this is giving Ciel getting accused of murder in the Blue Cult arc, and also, like, he's a wanted criminal, but, I mean, he did do tax fraud for real, and I think that's what he's really being taken in for, because Aberline knows he didn't kill anybody. Aberline knows he's not the one, killing the people that the Sphere Music Hall is killing. Let me make that correction. Ash is, in fact, framing Ciel for this, which is kind of like how real Ciel and Undertaker frame our Ciel for the murders, and kind of gets the cops called on him at the end of the Blue Cult arc. It's kind of the same thing. The people who made the anime said, what if we do this, but instead of it being his dead brother and this man that Mel thinks is his grandpa, we make it an angel. And also make his friend Lau involved in a little bit. So anyways. I also think Lau being kind of involved here is really funny because Lau is the one guy that CL has been able to go to in the manga post twin reveal to kind of like work with him, because Lau is a contact that our CL made on his own. Lau has no ties to Vincent, no loyalty to the Phantom Hives, and he doesn't even really know the twin. All he knows is our CL, and our CL needs his help. And also, this puts our CL in his debt, because, you know, Lau's always thinking about that kind of thing. So I think that's kind of interesting that he's involved in both cases here, but in the anime it's a little bit different, and he's a little bit more antagonistic. I really, really hope that's not foreshadowing for him being an antagonist in the manga, because I will be greatly upset. So Ciel and Sebastian go to jail. They don't really escape like they do in the manga on the way there. Sebastian gets beat up by Ash, and her little sexy outfit is kind of mid. Not gonna lie, not a great outfit. I need you guys to know, my notes that I took to make this video are very incoherent, and I'm doing the best I can. I wrote light versus shadows, diplomatic with Germany, manga fucking with Germany, attacking France, opium wars, Lao board, new game, rip Aberline, like, girl, what does this mean? Okay, so a detail in the anime is that the queen goes to France for something, and Ciel and Sebastian follow her there, and this is kind of where they have their first confrontation, where they know that the queen and Ash are the big bad, that is who they need to take care of Ciel's revenge. I think this is interesting, because in the manga, Undertaker, after we find out that he's kind of an antagonistic force, we learn from Diedrich that he goes to France. For what? Girl, I still don't know. I don't remember if they covered this in the Blue Cult arc. It might not have been important at the time. But I just think that's a funny little detail, because while I still believe that the queen will probably be the big bad in the manga like she is in the anime, maybe not to the same degree, but I do think she will be an antagonistic force. And I think Undertaker might be a little bit of a red herring. I still find that kind of funny that the overarching antagonist go to France. Guilty on association with France, I guess. I'm truly grasping for straws, because Black Butler makes me feel insane. And then also, you know, picking fights with Germany. They do that in the manga. There is a lot of little things thrown here and there that makes me think the queen is ready to start a war with Germany, or is trying to keep Germany from being as strong as Britain and interfering in ways that will make it to where the queen will be able to win in a war. One detail that's in the anime is that the whole doll arc had this whole London Bridge is falling down motif. Is it really a motif if it's just something Drossel keeps singing? It's like the creepy kid song that they used a lot in the doll arc, and it comes back with the queen because she's singing it, and it's like ties back to Ash and Angela. And we know at the end of the anime, Angela and Sebastian, or Ash and Sebastian, they have their big showdown on the London Bridge that's being built, so that's probably why the song keeps coming up. But I just thought it was kind of interesting to like further tie those two instances together, because we do know Ash was involved with Drossel making people dolls. That is a connection. But having the queen also be connected to that is very interesting to me. And the queen in the anime is behind the whole like death of Ciel's parents, and is the source of Ciel's suffering, and also the person they need to kill to extract his revenge. I say this all the time. I think this is going to be true in the manga as well. I don't think she directly went over to the house and killed him, but I do think she is the mastermind for some reason, whether it be Vincent knew too much and she wanted to get rid of him, or something else. My theory is on Vincent knew too much, because he also seemed to know that maybe something was going to happen to him. So it's either he knew too much or he did something, and it's just, there's something there, I think. So Can't wait for Yana Toboso to either prove me right or prove me wrong. Anyway, we get the Sebastiel divorce arc. Whether you ship it or not, I think calling it that's kind of funny. Sebastian does abandon Ciel here, and while he abandons him, the contract mark is weaker. And there's not really a moment in the manga that I think this really parallels cleanly with, but there is that moment in the Emerald Witch arc where Ciel is not himself. He's being affected by the mustard gas and has had sort of a PTSD-driven trauma moment. And during that, Sebastian's like, well, I mean, if you're giving up, I can just eat your soul right here, right now. And with this moment in season 1, there had been a little bit of tension between Ciel and Sebastian because Ciel wanted to hesitate on extracting his revenge. And the audience is led to believe that that is why Sebastian abandoned Ciel. So that feels not quite the same, but definitely similar. So the ending of season 1 kind of leans heavy into like burning down everything, cleansing London through fire, and the Phantom Hive Manor does burn down again. So the manga's not over yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like this happened. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little Phantom Hive Manor showdown between the twins or something, and, you know, could be interesting.
This is the second fire we've had since I began my service with the Phantom Hives. All I can do in the end is document the story of this grand estate. That is my role. However, I suppose that role is coming to an end.
The rest of the anime is basically just Sebastian and Ash having their big showdown and Ciel getting his revenge and the aftermath of all of that. And, you know, the London Bridge is made by demons and humans sacrificed to make the bridge. I don't think that's going to be the case in the manga. This is a little bit more fantastical than the manga likes to take things. So there is that. I wrote down Vincent knew of that day, not handling death well, life worth living. So that's kind of fun. So a lot of the parallels in the anime kind of really draw to like big plot points or maybe story arcs that might have already been planned when the anime was airing. But I think it's kind of interesting the way that we have all these tie-ins to Emerald Witch. And by the way, the Emerald Witch arc was 2014-2015. That's quite a substantial amount of time. The Undertaker being a Reaper was... maybe that came out in 2012, maybe 2013. I don't really know. I don't know when the Luxury Liner arc was publishing offhand. But we get all of these little lore drops, all of these little basic ideas for story arcs, and they're like twisted up, maybe mangled a little bit, and then spit back out in this anime, and I think that's really fascinating. I feel like I'm losing my mind. But another thing I want to point out that maybe isn't necessarily a direct parallel to the manga, but it's the way that Ash and Agni parallel each other in contrast with Sebastian. Agni is a contrast and a parallel to Sebastian in the sense of what it means to be a butler, how their relationships are with their masters, and Agni is like a parallel of Sebastian and kind of a what he could be if he had more of a heart, and he's kind of a pureness that Sebastian will never achieve but still strives for because it's part of the butler aesthetic. Whereas Ash, on the other hand, is a perversion of Sebastian. I mean, their designs are literal visual contrasts, but Ash's whole thing is like he's corrupting the people around him because, you know, angel or not, I don't think it's good to sew together a dead corpse into a living human being. The queen probably got diseases. It is what killed her in the end, by the way. Complications with that is what killed her. And that's kind of Ash's fault. He's corrupting everything around him. He's tearing these things down in an effort to try to fix it, to make it better, whereas Sebastian is building things up, albeit maybe not in the healthiest way in the case of Ciel, but building up nonetheless, and saving and protecting and doing a better job at being a butler. Anyway, the one last parallel I want to throw out here is Ash and Angela have a dual nature that a lot of people point to the Double Charles as like that parallel of the Servants of the Queen. The dual Servants of the Queen, they have the same-ish name, they're the Double Charles. But I also think there's something suspicious about John Brown. The Queen in the manga has 3 different servants clad in all white hair, white clothes. But I think John Brown might play more of an Ash role than the Double Charles, although one of the Charles definitely was antagonistic and did kill Sebastian in the murder arc. Ever since then, they've been more of like goofy side characters that pop up every now and then, and they've not really done much since. But John Brown has started to show up more, and he suspiciously arrived to Germany way faster than he should have. Kind of like how Sebastian's able to deliver things and show up places way faster than he should have. Also, John Brown is currently with the Queen in the hotel arc, and during the Blue Revenge arc, every location that the servants have been to and investigated have ended up being related to the blood drive, and Ciel and Sebastian are investigating this hotel in Brighton, and they are... This little mini arc of the overarching arc has not gotten super far yet, and I've been a little bit too distracted by Modri Vladis. But the Queen is there, and I am suspicious of her and John Brown. I do believe that Ash and Angela parallel or prophesy of something that I don't have the answers to yet. Because at the end of the day, season 1 of Black Butler is a prophecy for the manga. I don't know if this is true, but I genuinely believe it in my heart of hearts. Is it because I've been sitting with this anime since I was 13 years old and have been obsessed with this manga since 2014? Maybe. And I'm finding answers wherever I can find them, whether they're true or not? Possibly. You know what they say. Nobody loves to spread misinformation more than a Black Butler fan. I think season 1 is good. I think it's worth watching, and I think if you're going to watch it for the canon episodes, you might as well just watch the entire thing. Because while it's not canon, and the ways it parallels the manga are not enough for you to feel like you're getting a good glimpse into what's to come, I do think that it serves its purpose in the way that it portrays the kinds of stories that Black Butler wants to tell, and it keeps the vibe that is in the manga. Like, we have all of these things happening that I wouldn't be surprised if it happened in the manga, although I hope it's better written in some cases. But I wouldn't be surprised if we finish the hotel arc and we roll up to fucking, I don't know, BDSM Dog Village, although I don't think we're doing that again, because that is just Emerald Witch arc. But you get the point. I could see all of these things happening in the manga. Oh yeah, there's one other thing. Major spoilers for major character death, by the way. This is your last warning. If you're not caught up on the manga, I'm going to ruin your life here. Okay, so back to Pluto. Pluto and Snake are kind of the same character, right? In the sense that they're silver-haired, animal-adjacent, outsider members of the Phantom Fam, which is what I like to call the servants. We have the core members of Mayrin, Bard, Finny, and Tanaka, and Sebastian, but then we get Snake later on, and Snake does become integrated into the group. They do care about him, but he still is this sense of like an outsider just a little bit, the same way that Pluto is. Although it's Pluto, it's less so because the Phantom Fam killed his circus family, and more so the fact that he seems to have the brain of a dog, and he's a little hard to communicate with because he doesn't speak back, he just barks. But the servants do seem to care about Pluto, and they enjoy his presence. He is a part of their family, and then at the very end, he betrays them because he's under Angela's control. He burns things down, he starts the fires, and at the end of the day, they have to kill him. So in the Blue Revenge arc, Finny and Snake are the ones that go to the orphanage, and at this orphanage, we find out that Doll is a bizarre doll. You know, from the circus arc, way back when? Why Undertaker decided to make her a doll? Maybe he thought it'd be funny. I don't know. But Doll is able to tell Snake the truth of what happened, and Snake kind of has this moment of finding out that his current family killed his previous family, but then also that his previous family were bad people. Snake turns to Finny and tries to find out the truth of what really happened, and Finny does lay it to him straight. He did kill Jumbo. Finny affirms and does try to explain to him the circumstances and the things that the circus members did, and this is something that Snake doesn't really want to believe because the circus members were his family. He thinks that they're really good people, and you know, at the end of the day, I do agree that the circus people were good people. They were doing what they felt they had to for the sake of their father. The crimes that they did, while they should be held responsible for them, I think don't really determine the fact that they were bad people, because it was kind of something they were manipulated into doing. It's not something that they did of their own free will. So while I do think they should be held accountable, I also think that does not make them bad people. Does that make sense? So Snake is also having this like, I know they're good people, I don't believe that this happened, because that is an objectively bad thing to do. Doll does end up killing Snake, and in his last moments, he does genuinely believe Doll would never do something like that, and says as much. And while it's not the Phantom Hive servants that are killing Snake like they did Pluto, it is their actions that get him killed. And you know, Doll does kill him, and I think that also kind of parallels someone who cares about him having to be the one to kill him, like the way the Phantom Hive servants had to kill Pluto after learning to care about him. It's not exactly the same, but I do think those parallels are there, especially if we take into consideration that this was something in the finale arc of the anime. And while I don't think the Blue Revenge arc may necessarily be the finale arc, definitely the orphanage arc isn't the finale, we do know that the finale is coming, and it's something that Yana Toboso even went on hiatus to prepare for. So there is all that. All these little instances in the anime and the manga that I think are fundamentally the same, despite being different. I'm gonna be honest, Nullbird and I came up with the idea to make this video back in September of 2023, a pre-Baldur's Gate time for me, and that's when we initially rewatched season 1, and I took these really shitty notes. So if this video felt like the ramblings of a madman, that's because it kind of is. Black Butler does make me feel a little insane sometimes, and I was in the depth of it before I got super into Baldur's Gate 3. I say knowing full well one of my closest friends was at my house 2 weeks ago in real life, and we watched the Emerald Witch arc, and the entire time I was pulling out the ancient texts and like comparing, and it was a whole big thing. I was going full Black Butler freak in full force. We're talking about Black Butler again on the Pocket Leaves channel. Crazy. Anyway, that's it for me. I don't think I have anything else to say about season 1 because I don't really want to analyze it right now. Anyway, do you guys also see the parallels that I'm seeing here, or do I just sound like I'm making things up because I'm so Black Butler pill-brained that I could look at anything and be like, oh my gosh, that's so Black Butler. That's just like this one time. Anyway, that's it for me. Let me know if you guys would be interested in some more like Black Butler videos that aren't the deep dives, because again, I am waiting for the Blue Revenge arc to finish to do a big video on it. But I would love to do like little sillier things, maybe even like character analysis. Could be fun. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next video, whatever that may be. Goodbye!